Now then, and welcome back to another episode on the NemGo Reborn server. Welcome back. And what a view we've got from up here, eh? I picked this for a reason, for the views, and mistakenly, I then put these little tiny windows in so I can only just about see it. But it's a decent view from this level, at least. This level is kind of just underneath the top layer. Where we built the ring of wood the first episode to get that first circle in the place. I've filled it in with snow, which I'm going to go through all the processing of things and stuff in a minute. But then built this layer where I can walk around a ring. Well, the wood that goes around the first layer then had stone put on it, and that goes all the way down into the floor. We did all that, sorted all that out, kind of got a base ready. And then this edge, kind of a random ring around it, almost like a little donut ring or a polo ring put on top of the thing. It's just adding a little feature and allowing me a little walk around the edge of the thing every now and again. I'm actually thinking now that I want to knock this wall down like this so that I can then see the other side of the wall, like so. So I can basically have this corridor all the way around the outside of this particular level. I've lit it all up, as you can see, because that was a job and a half, wasn't it? That was a job and a half. And the top has access this way, yeah. And it's basically snowed on it a few times, but that's the top. On the map, it still looks the same great big circle, but now, of course, I've claimed most of the area. And this level is just stone. This level then started taking layers of snow off so I could use it on the upper levels and that kind of stuff. All the snowballs in a compacting drawer make snow blocks very quickly for you, very easily, but filling up inventory very, very quickly with that. And also making lots of areas for mobs to spawn was very difficult, so I had to get that sorted fairly swiftly, making lots and lots of torches. May have gone a little overboard lighting these areas up. I was like, I'm fed up of stuff spawning on the tops here, so I lit it all up. But if I come across to the middle of the quadrants, I can show you where we're up to at the moment. It's been a lot of work, a lot of fun, just relaxed working on this kind of stuff. Put torches down every 5 blocks on both of those quarters, and you see the pattern it makes with the snow melting around it. It's quite cool, isn't it? Yeah, and then taking the top layer of snow and ice off that one. And then there's this one here, which if I get down this way, will be a lot quicker, especially with my rubber boots. Here we go. Yeah, this is going to be the middle bit where I'm going to have some escalators or elevator blocks going up in the middle. But in this section, where I've roofed off and put some of those glowy lights that are supposed to light everything up really well, yeah, this is not doing such a good job right now. I can still see these great big shadows on the walls, but maybe if I put a few more around, it will look a lot better. Down here, I have divided the place up after getting rid of all the ice. All the snow and all the ice has got divided off and packed away so that I could build some things down here. And I went with this chunk plot kind of design so that chunks could be turned off. I can have each chunk loaded when I want it and chunk loaded off when I didn't want it. Stuff like that. But really, it's probably not going to work out like that. That's just the practicalities of it. It's just going to look like a neat little grid. And on the mini-map, inside, please, it's got this nice little grid inside, which is all that we worry about. Looking nice on the mini-map. That's what we look for, yeah. And then these sheep pens, just making lots and lots of wool for me for the build outside. I kind of want to use wool because it's a cheap and it replenishes itself. Cheap and it's replenishing. The only problem is I had to shear them manually. So what we've done, just recently Ego added in the progressive automation. And one of the animal farmers, you can have a shearing upgrade and you can put a shearing upgrade in it. Do I have? Yes, I do have. So the shearing upgrade, these are manor shears. They go into the wooden shear, the wooden animal farmer to shear the sheep. That then gets put into the chest above, which then goes away to the storage. Yay. I do have a ender chest underneath as well, feeding items into the feeding items in there, the charcoal and stuff, feeding it in. And I did put shears in there to automate it and keep it so it was running for a long time. But now I've got quite a lot of supplies. I don't really need to worry about it so much. So I've just been coming down here manually getting rid of some of these mana steel ingots because we've got so many of them. From all the chests that we've explored and dungeons we've looted, trying to find the crates for the NemGo quests. Yeah, all that. And here we've got a spruce farm. This spruce farm has run out of axes, but I did have the chest hooked up, like I said, where we get things going in, pulled in, and pumped in, so that when I want it to be operational, I just add a load of axes, stone axes in this case, because it's a stone chopper, to that to make the tree farm work. And then right up at the top, everything gets dropped out of those ender chests and put away. And it gets pulled up over here and put into storage drawers, and those storage drawers are filling up nicely with my pallet of building supplies. Now these two, the magenta and the purple, are not part of the building supplies, apart from the fact that I'll probably use those colours because they're my colours. So I'll use those colours quite a bit in and around the region anyway. But mostly I wanted the white wool and the grey wool. A fair bit of this light blue wool. Not so much of the blue wool, but a fair bit of the light blue and the white and the grey. Also, we've been having glass being produced en masse, and now there's over 37k of glass in there. That's probably okay for the dome. We've got normal ice, 47,000 or normal ice, and 15k of packed ice, which is basically what I dug. I dug 15k of packed ice up from out of the ground. And the 47k of normal ice, I'm not actually sure if I'm going to use that much, so I might as well turn this off now. Have I had this turned off a while? Yeah, it's now on snow. So that's been running constantly. We'll set that up in that first episode where we were breaking ground over here. And I, since then, have just basically been using this. 14k we've got in there at the minute. That's not bad, is it? That's quite a lot, considering I haven't really got a lot more use for it. I do want to decorate the outside. Now, really, I should be getting started on putting mods into here and getting things started. But this is a dramatic and awesome structure, and I would like to see at least the base plate looking a little bit more attractive than that before I start filling it full of magic mods. Before I start playing with the magic mods, getting totally absorbed in the magic mods, I'd like to get this looking cool first. So today's episode is going to be a little bit more buildy. Now, as you can see from that top ring around the top of that, that is kind of like an observatory level. That's going to be where I'm going to have all of my potential supplies stored and basic machines and things. A kind of a tech level, I suppose. Then the rest of it's going to be more supplies for the 4 types of magic that are in the pack. Botania, Blood Magic, Astral Sorcery and Thorncraft are all going to have their own sections within there, and we're going to have something built on the top that's going to look awesome. I was thinking about a dome, but I'm worried that the dome of that size might actually beat world build height. So I may have to come up with some other idea for that. Maybe a smaller dome. We'll get a builder's guide and build a smaller half dome instead of a snow globe. We'll just do a dome on the top instead. That'll probably work. And then do a nice little build inside for some cool stuff that I can actually have a place to live in. But all that is so far away. All I've been doing so far is just getting the basic structure in place and starting with the materials. So I need to start fancying it up. Now, I like this wool ideal. I like the wool ideal. And I want some kind of like blue icy sheets. So when you look over to this kind of area, you get the lots of blue packed ice. Lots of blue packed ice. This kind of blue packed ice kind of feel. As the majority of it turns to blue packed ice, I'll have some blue windows within there as well, so that I've got some areas where I can look out the window. And I'm actually thinking of some like ice spikes like these. You see how the ice spikes go diagonally? Ice spikes coming out. So I think I'm going to put ice spikes coming out from the sides and then make a snow covering on top. I think that's going to look cool. And the snow globe that I saw had this kind of like white swirl. So it'd go up and around and back down and then up and then over and swirl and then back down. And it was just kind of nice swirls. Possibly as big and thick as that band up there, but going up and swirling around. Now that's going to take me a lot of freehand jumping up and down, moving around, doing all sorts of stuff to make it work. So I'm going to get on that, and this episode is going to be, I don't know, a week or so in the making, no doubt. I'm going to take my time and have a good go at making a nice looking design around here for you guys. Well, it's been a fair few days, been a long hard slog, but it's getting there. I think the worst of it is how much wool I'm using. I really could have done with using some kind of packing material. But snow and wool, they're all reusable just as much as each other. So if I pack out with snow and use wool on the outside, I've still got to get the wool. Still got to get the snow. And if I do it the other way around, wool on the inside, snow on the outside, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I like the swirls. The swirls are good. And I feel like every couple of swirls, or every swirl maybe, I'll have some kind of ice spike coming out of it. But doesn't it look great in the background? I may use prismarine and packed ice as the colour scheme for the actual backing of it all. Or maybe more blues, because yeah, you've got a lot of blue and a blue ice and all that kind of this colour scheme over into this area. Yeah, maybe that's probably going to be better. Yeah, well, we'll see how it looks in a few minutes. Well, in a few hours for me, a few minutes for you. Why does it feel like I've just iced a birthday cake? It looks like a fancy cake, doesn't it? It looks like a fancy cake surround. I couldn't quite get anything symmetrical going on with this stuff, but I caused a bit of chaos, so I feel like the chaos might be useful. And let's throw some snowballs. I'm also getting into the habit of marching up here to have a look at it from a distance and throwing snowballs at things, because why not? I'm actually getting quite good at it. I should be able to hit something with the snowball at some point. I just don't... Yes, there we go. I just don't think it's doing that anything, like, damage-wise, of course. I'm just throwing snowballs at things. Yeah! Yeah, and then slime boots. Boing. I forgot to mention, before I started all this, what tools I'm using. The tools of my trade right now are these mana tools. Manulium pickaxe heads and tool heads with mana ingots smelted down to make all the handles. I made a full set. Of Tinker's tools. And because I've got a band of mana, it tops up the repair, so they never need repairing, so they never run out. And then I can put all of the Tinker's bonuses on, like I've got luck on my pickaxe, and I've got sharpness on my mattock, because that's really wrecks things. Mattocks with sharpness are really good. And I've got silk touch on my excavator and hammer. The reasoning behind that is when I'm clearing areas, I silk touch everything, and when I want to fine tune stuff, I probably don't want silk touch. I might want the fortune on this pick. Also, getting through various amounts of ores. It's great fun. And I'm really impressed with how they're leveling up and they're repairing all the time as well from the mana. So we really need to get into Botania and Thorncraft and get started on all of these things. But how's it look? It looks like you've iced a cake. It's just a little bit random in some places. I couldn't quite get up there and get things placed as I felt I needed. So I'm going to mess around with it a little bit more as and when we get round to doing other bits and pieces. I've left as many spots as I can there for like icy spike tusks coming out, which I'll probably do between now and next episode, so that I get a little bit of time messing around with that off camera again. But I felt like I needed to give you an update video today, so here you go. Here we are. This is where we're at the minute. I've also put some lanterns or flare things from the Torchmaster mod up on the corners there to keep all of the blocks involved lit. I was getting mob spawns on top of the carpets. I thought about going around and putting carpet down on top of the wool, is the way around it should be worded. That the mob spawning on top of the wool, and I had to put carpets down on top of that. But instead I just lit it with the flare lantern, and that should light a fairly decent area. And that should hold off the mobs from spawning around the outside. I don't know what happened here. I think I just, instead of curling round, I just ended up going up and connected and thought, oh, that looks quite pretty cool, actually. Let's keep that. So there's a fair bit of random in it. It's not like I've been sticking to any particular frilly pattern. I've just been trying to step back, get a curve on it, work on it, and then I'm going to be making the spikes that come out of it very, very soon. And it looks good from a distance. I think you'll agree. It looks very good from a distance, from all the directions now. It's very good. So the next thing I want to do, before we get started on the magic mods, is put a dome on it, or a globe of some kind. So I'm going to go and find myself a builder's guide. We've got a few in the pack, and I want to find the one that can do a very good dome for me. Okay, so here we go. There's 2 builder's guides in this. I've just made redstone torches for no reason. There's the Open Blocks Builder's Guide, and then there's the Advanced Open Blocks Builder's Guide. I don't know which is which, necessarily, but I do believe that I can just use a redstone torch to help me out. Now, I know where the centre of this build is from under here, so I'm going to set it so that whatever I build is set down a little bit. And in the hopes that we're going to be absolutely great. There's going to be an amazing looking build. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I've got a problem with that being there. So let's take this out. That's exactly the center of the build. And let's put the builder's guide in the middle there with, well, we can't put glass on redstone at the minute. That's not possible. What have we got in here? Britannia blocks. I've got some living rock. Let's put some living rock on here. And we can living rock and put that on. There we go. So now we've got a thing. A template forming. Now I'm going to go up there and mess around with the template so that we can get it to look right. I've got a few elevators, and I did have them in the middle there, and I moved them just recently because I figured that I needed them on the outside better. Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of space around that, aren't I? But yeah, I put me elevator blocks on the edges when I was doing the edges so that I could get up quickly and get back onto the roof as fast as possible. So while I was over here, I would do this, and then I'll drop down onto this level and then run around a bit. But now we've got this. So that is clearly not a big enough dome. that is a tiny little dome. That's no good to me at all, is it? So what I've done now is I've set up 2 points. So I've set up a point over there, and I've set up a point over there. So that when I come to the middle again, and stand pretty much on this spot here, it should, in theory, tell me exactly how far we are away. So that's at 88, and this should also be 88. 88 exactly, okay. So we want 88 in each of these directions. So that's going to take me a little bit of doing, but I'll get there. Let's get 88. So now we've done 88 in all directions. Actually, 88 in all directions was right. No. I thought I had 88 in all directions. I've got one of them is slightly out. That's 87. That's 88. So this one's slightly out. 87, 88. So this last one I did. 88. Oh yeah, so they're all 88. And now I'm just making the dome rise up out. So it's brilliant, brilliant light at the minute. I want to kind of go a fairly high distance. This is at least 88 again, I suppose, to make it very spherical. Dome-like on the top. Okay, there we have it. Every direction 88 blocks away. Does definitely look like a great big dome right now. That's good. From the inside it does. That's cool. It's technically a sphere. So it's going 88 blocks in every direction to make the perfect half sphere dome instead of just a dome that's not quite rounded. I wanted to make it as perfectly round as possible. And so here we are. And are we kind of... We are almost in exactly the place of this circle, which is also pretty good. I could probably drop it down a couple, like make it 87 in each direction maybe, to see how that looks. But let's go, bing, let's go down to the perch and see what it looks like on the perch. The amount of times I've been up and down this ladder, you'd think I would have found an easier way. I would have put elevator blocks in. Why didn't I think of elevator blocks? I've been climbing up and down this ladder like I'm vanilla style for so much now. Okay, here we go. So let's have a grand reveal. Ta-da! That's not a bad dome, is it? That's not a bad dome at all. I kind of like that. It's not a bad dome at all. It's big enough in the terrain to make it look right. It's big enough with the build to make it look right. Yeah, I think it's pretty big. It's big enough. I think we'll go with that. So an 88 in each direction gets us to the edge of the ring there. And I can always make that edge, that ring edge, a little bit bigger. Put some snow, pack it with snow, or white wool, or whatever, and make it look a little better. Yeah, I think the nice, rounded, spherical dome is what we need for this particular build. So yeah, that's the next thing to do. I'm now wondering what kind of glass I'm going to use on it and whether I can automate it and what this enhanced builder is all about. Alrighty, so the two things that I found out about this builder. The enhanced builder will allow me to right click with a block and place it. I didn't know that. So it'll place the blocks where I want them all around this place. It's pretty cool looking though, isn't it? And putting dye on it, right-clicking the die should change the colour of the thing, yeah. So I can see what it might look like in the glass block of my choice. So that would be a magenta dome. And this one would be a light blue dome, which is far more magical, but much less Nemsun. So I'm going to check those two out, swap them round. I've got some magenta stained glass or light blue stained glass, either way. The magenta glass is actually easier to produce because we can just use one of those lilac plants and just use bone meal and create tons and tons of it. But I think there's something else that we probably need to do to make a regular supply of this dye. Alrighty, I've checked the 87 variety. 87 in every direction lands us pretty much on the wood all the way around my circle, so it's perfect 87 circle. Only my circle goes out one extra block on each of the cardinal directions, which is, well, not something that I can worry about. It's just something to deal with in a bit. So there's that. And then I've got the magenta or the light blue. Now I feel like the light blue should be the one, so I'm going to have to do light blue. I'm going to have to then set up some kind of farming to farm me light blue. Oh, it's doing something. It's directing it over there, so it must be making it over that side. I hope it's doing it from the higher end and not from the low end first. I wonder how it's working it. Oh, it's doing up there. Is it random? Is it just going to be starting somewhere at random? Because I don't want the whole sphere doing, do I? So I want it to do the top layer first, if possible. Okay, so it started there. Yes. And it's also done a couple here. Okay. Got a problem. Got a problem with that. Gonna have to fix that. Gonna have to make sure that it's a dome, not a sphere. So I've got to remember how that works. I believe there was a shaping device thing going on with it. There was a way to change the shape on the builder's block, and I think it was from the top. But because I've placed it from the bottom, maybe that's not there. Ah, there we go. That's more like it. So this is an up and down. What's this? Changing it to planes, changing it to axes, changing it to octagon, hexagon, pentagon, triangle, dome. There we go. So now it's in dome mode. Looks good still, looks good. And there is no building down here, which means that the dome mode seems to be successful. We like that. So I need to reclaim that glass and start the build. Okay, there's a couple of ways of getting the light blue that I'm going to need. Bone meal and lapis, that's one way. And that's possibly the easiest way, because at the tech area, Ego does have a resource miner, so we should be getting lapis all the time. And we do have a bone farm. So we've got a mob farm. So we've got those two options. But the other way to do it is the Botania way. So I'm going to just plant loads and loads of these Botania light blue crystals. Because these flower petals, should I say, they're sparkling like crystals. That's what put me off. And Thorncraft. We're going to plant a load of these and let them grow. Bone meal them is the other option, of course. I've got a lot of bone meal, so instead of having to worry about getting the lapis, I can just get the bones still. That's half the cost, basically. But this is more manual labour, because I'm going to have to, grow them all and then cut them down using the mana shears. Yeah, get a pair of mana shears and cut them down. So, bone meal, easy enough. Bone meal them all up. Do this. Now, whether or not to do this and then just do them one at a time, because of that kind of stuff, that problem, maybe somehow automate this, I don't know. What I'd like to see, though, is that I get lots and lots of sweet returns from it all. Lots and lots of sweet returns. So I get plenty of petals back from this little lot. That was a stack. That was half a stack of petals, giving me a stack of these. Okay. And then break them all with the shears. And that's that bit. And then use that to break them down into petals, which gives me nearly 2 stacks of petals. Then rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Now I might need to set up something grass-wise over at the mob farm. Or just stand there and then bring a load of bones back with me. Either way, I've got a lot of crafting to do for this. There's over 30-something thousand, 32,000 glass up there. And the dome requires about 33. So I need about another 1,000 glass. And of course I'm going to need petals to be able to convert them all at times 8. Or so every 8 glass that I want to change, I'm going to have 1 petal. So that's not too bad. That's a decent return, I feel. And I probably, let's see, 64 times 8 in stacks. 64 stacks. I probably only need 64 stacks of 64 in order to make enough. Then times 8. 64 times 64 times 8 equals around about 33,000, give or take, carry in a 2 or somewhere. So if I can make a few more stacks of this, I'm away and I'm winning. Do these things grow naturally? Like, do I just leave them in the ground and they'll grow naturally, or do they continue just to sparkle? Is it just a sparkly path thing? I think I remember it being that they just sparkled until you bone mealed them. And that was just an added thing that we could do, bone meal in them. So just a spark. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, this is going to be a thing for 64 stacks of petals in order to grind them all down, sort them all out, and make the magical dome happen. But that, my friends, is all we've got time for in today's episode of NemGo Reborn. Thank you so much for watching. I've nearly got to the stage now where we can begin all of the magic mods and make this place into an awesome area to experiment and expand my magical knowledge. We potentially could call it a Druid's Tale, but I'm just going to focus on making some very cool automated builds in this series, using Botania, Blood Magic, Astral Sorcery, which is a new one for me, and also Thorncraft, which I've only just started learning again in version 6. So thank you all very, very much for watching. I will see you in the next episode of Reborn very soon. Goodbye.